There comes a time, child, when you've tried everything they told you to do. You've studied the markets, watched the trends, saved what little you could, and prayed in whispers under your breath while the weight of the world pressed down upon your shoulders. The bills came anyway. The worry nestled in the corner of your heart like a thief waiting to pounce. You've walked through seasons where the pantry held only shadows and your dreams slept quietly, waiting for the day you'd have the strength or the courage to wake them. But I have come to tell you something holy today. Not a trick, not a strategy, not a fable. I came to remind you of the power you already carry, the word of the living God wrapped in the fabric of ancient poetry, a psalm soaked in promise, provision, and prosperity, a psalm that opens heaven's doors and brings favor like rain on a dry and dusty land, a psalm that is not just meant to be read but spoken with fire, declared with faith, and lived with the kind of boldness only found when you know that the Lord of hosts walks beside you. Speak this psalm and watch God do what man said was impossible. Speak it not with trembling lips but with authority. Speak it not because you are desperate but because you are destined. There's a rhythm to the Psalms, a pulse that beats like your own heart when it remembers who it belongs to. Psalm 23 is not just a poem for funerals or moments of fear. It is a declaration of divine wealth, a map to abundance, a key that unlocks doors no man can shut. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Did you hear that? Read it again, but this time let every word fall like rain on the drought in your soul. The Lord, not the bank, not your job, not the economy. The Lord is your shepherd, and you, precious one, shall not want. That is not wishful thinking, that is a promise carved into the eternal breath of God. When you speak those words, you aren't begging for a miracle, you're standing inside of one. To say I shall not want is to defy the language of lack. It is to tell poverty that it has no permanent address in your life. It is to remind your anxious thoughts that you are led, not lost. Provided for, not forgotten. Every time you say it, you're swinging a sword against despair. Every time you declare it, you're digging a well in a desert. Because when the Lord is your shepherd, His goodness doesn't trail behind you like a shadow. It pursues you like a storm of grace, overtaking every place of emptiness with overflowing peace and provision. Now don't misunderstand me, this isn't about magic. This isn't about reciting words and waiting for gold to fall from the sky. This is about faith, deep mountain-moving faith. It's about aligning your mouth with your miracle. It's about speaking what God already said until your reality bends to His truth. You see, faith comes by hearing, and sometimes, child, you've got to be the one doing the preaching. Sometimes the mountain won't move until your own voice rises in holy defiance. Sometimes the prison door won't shake until you sing in the dark. And sometimes your financial breakthrough is waiting for you to speak the psalm, not with fear but with the unshakable certainty that your Father in heaven owns the cattle on 1,000 hills and has never once let His children beg for bread. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures, He leadeth me beside the still waters. That's provision, child. That's divine rest in a world that keeps trying to wear you down. You've been hustling, grinding, pushing until your soul grew weary. But the psalm says He makes you lie down. He doesn't demand your exhaustion as payment for His blessings. He leads you to peace. He calls you to stillness, because rest is not laziness, it is warfare in a world addicted to striving. When you speak this psalm, you are declaring to every restless part of your spirit that your provider is not your performance, your provider is God. He restoreth my soul, He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for His name's sake. God's blessings aren't just financial, they're foundational. He doesn't just give you money, He gives you wisdom. He doesn't just give you wealth, He gives you the strength to handle it. Restoration is His specialty. Maybe you've lost more than money. Maybe you've lost time, dignity, direction. But He restores. Not just what was taken, but what you didn't even know you were missing. And when He restores, He does it in righteousness. He doesn't bless you just to impress the world. He blesses you because His name is on you. You belong to Him. And like a loving parent dressing their child in their finest, God clothes you in honor, in integrity, in abundance, not because of who you are, but because of whose you are. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Yes, you've had valley seasons. Who hasn't? the bills stacked high like mountains, the silence from heaven when you needed answers, the moments where you felt like hope had packed its bags and left you for good. But the psalm says you walk through, not stay in. You're coming out. You're not stuck. You are moving, and you don't walk alone. For thou art with me, not behind you, not watching from afar. He is with you in the meeting where they said no, in the night when you cried, in the morning when you wondered if anything would ever change. He is with you. That is your wealth. That is your inheritance. The presence of God is not just comfort. It is your covering, your shield, your insurance against everything this world throws your way. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Protection, guidance, discipline, love. When you speak this psalm, you are aligning yourself with divine direction. You're not just asking for money, you're asking for meaning. You're not just praying for a raise, you're praying for responsibility and readiness. Because God doesn't just give, He prepares. He disciplines those He loves. He sets you in order before He sets you in overflow. And that's what this psalm does. It brings you back to center. It reminds you that you are not wandering without aim, you are being led. Every no was a redirection. Every delay was a divine pause. Every detour was preparation for the table. O that table! Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Child, do you know what it means for God to prepare a table for you? That means He's been working behind the scenes, setting the stage for your increase, arranging a feast of favor, a banquet of blessings while your enemies watch, not to shame them but to glorify Him. So they see that the same person they underestimated is the one God elevates. So they know it wasn't your charm, your connections, or your credit score. It was your covenant with the Most High that brought you into abundance. So they understand that when God opens a financial door, no hater, no system, no past mistake can keep it shut. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Anointing, child. Anointing is not just a spiritual feeling. It's divine empowerment. It's favor that makes rooms open. It's a mark that says this one is chosen. And when God anoints you, He doesn't do it halfway. Your cup runs over. Not drips, not barely filled, overflows. That means not just enough for you, but enough to bless others. Enough to give without fear. Enough to live without lack. Financial freedom doesn't come from hoarding, it comes from knowing who your source is. When you are anointed, you don't worry if the bank account is low, because the well never runs dry when God is your well. And then, child, the crescendo, the glorious finale. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Did you catch that? Not maybe, not occasionally, surely, with certainty, like a shadow in the sun, like a melody that clings to your skin. Goodness and mercy are with you, even when you don't feel it, even when the numbers don't add up, even when you don't see the breakthrough yet. It is following you, and not for a season, for all the days of your life. That means God's provision doesn't retire. His favor doesn't expire. His blessings are not seasonal, they are eternal. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. That is the ultimate wealth. To live in the presence of the King. To have access to the throne room, where lack cannot enter. To be a child of a God who doesn't just give you a blessing, He makes you a blessing. To be a dwelling place for glory. A vessel for miracles. A light in the dark. A testimony that yes, when you speak His word, when you declare His psalm, when you align your mouth with His majesty, doors open. Not because of you but because of Him. Not through fear but through faith. So I urge you now, don't just read Psalm 23. Don't just memorize it, speak it. Proclaim it over your life, your bank account, your business, your children, your home. Speak it when the rent is due. Speak it when the job is gone. Speak it when the world says no. Speak it until your soul believes it. Speak it until every lie of lack falls to the floor. Speak it until your reality rises to meet your revelation. Speak it with the fire of 1,000 hallelujahs. Speak it like it's already done, because in heaven it is. And as you speak, know this: God hears. And not only does He hear, He responds, He opens, He blesses, He multiplies, He restores, He anoints, He provides. Not always how you expect, but always exactly what you need. The financial doors you've been staring at, wondering if they'll ever open, they are opening now, child. They are unlocking with every word you speak in faith. They are swinging wide, not because you forced them but because you trusted the one who holds the keys. So rise now and walk boldly. Not with arrogance but with assurance, not with pride but with purpose. The Lord is your shepherd, you shall not want. Say it again, say it until your spirit dances. Say it until heaven hears and earth agrees. Say it until doors open and lack flees and your hands are filled with the harvest of faith. Speak this psalm, beloved, and watch God do what only He can do. Watch Him open the financial doors, and then walk through them with praise on your lips and glory in your steps. Because surely, child, surely goodness and mercy shall follow you all the days of your life. And oh beloved, don't you dare think for a second that this psalm is too small for your big problems. Don't let the simplicity of the words deceive you, for wrapped inside those syllables is the power of God's very breath. See, when the psalmist wrote these lines, he wasn't sitting in comfort with a feast before him. No, he was speaking to storms while the thunder roared and the wolves howled. He wasn't praising from a palace, he was proclaiming from the valley, reminding his soul of who his shepherd was. That's what you must do now. That's the kind of faith that moves heaven, not the kind that waits until things look good, but the kind that speaks truth even when everything around you screams lack and fear and defeat. You speak it anyway. You say, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." And you say it not just for you but for every hungry child who doesn't know where their next meal is coming from, for every weary mother who's been scraping hope together like crumbs, for every man who's been beaten down by life and doesn't know how to stand up again. Speak it like your ancestors did when they had nothing but faith to hold on to. Speak it like the generations before you who built altars with their prayers and carved miracles out of midnight. This is your inheritance, child. Not scarcity, not struggle, but the unwavering presence of the Almighty. When you say this psalm, you're not asking for charity. You're claiming covenant. You are not begging, you are believing. There is power in your mouth and you must use it. You must declare what God has said until your reality bows down to His word. Speak it when your bank account is empty and your pantry is bare. Speak it when your dreams seem too far gone to resurrect. Speak it when the enemy whispers that it's over, because that's when heaven leans in close to listen. God watches over His word to perform it. Did you know that? He does not watch over your fear. He does not perform based on your anxiety. He watches over His word. So give Him His word. Return it to Him with trembling hands and a steady voice. Say, "Lord, you said I shall not want. I believe you, I trust you. I may not see it yet, but I know it's done." And just like the rain waters the earth and never returns empty, His word will not come back void. It will produce, it will multiply, it will burst forth like seeds breaking open after a long winter. That's what speaking the psalm does. It activates the seed. It stirs the ground, it prepares the harvest. And don't be surprised, my dear, if things begin to shift. Don't be alarmed if relationships fall away, if doors close, if you are led into stillness you didn't ask for. That's the shepherd at work. He's not punishing you, He's positioning you. He's removing what would destroy your blessing before it comes. He's aligning you with the path that leads to His prepared table. You asked Him to open the financial doors, but you didn't know that sometimes that means stripping away everything that would make you misuse the blessing. He's not just giving you increase, He's giving you character to carry it. Some blessings are heavy, child. Some breakthroughs come with weight, and you must be ready to hold them. That's why the shepherd leads you. That's why He makes you lie down. That's why He restores. Because when the floodgates open, you won't have time to catch your breath. When the door swings wide, you won't have time to prepare. You must already be prepared. And speaking this psalm is how you prepare. It is training for your spirit. It is strength for your soul. It is the language of those who do not bow to fear but rise in faith. Those who do not wait for permission from man but move on the promise of God. Do you hear it now? Do you feel it rising in you? That fire, that stirring, that holy ache for more. Not more money but more of Him. Because when you have Him, you have everything. When you have His presence, the money follows, the favor flows, the provision comes like a river that refuses to run dry. You don't chase after the things are drawn to the glory you carry. That's what Psalm 23 teaches you. It realigns your focus, it recalibrates your heart. It reminds you that you are not the provider He is. And He is not just able, He is willing. Do not let your past convince you that God has forgotten you. Do not let the disappointments of yesterday dim your view of what is still to come. You may have walked through dry seasons, you may have tasted the bitterness of lack. But this psalm, child, is the declaration that those days do not define you. Your story is still unfolding, and just as surely as the sun rises each morning, God's promise stands unshaken. The valley was not your grave, it was your classroom. The trial was not your end, it was your awakening. And now as you speak these words, as you rise in faith, heaven is moving. Can you feel it, the shift, the trembling beneath your feet, the whisper of destiny on the wind? That is the sound of God opening doors. That is the sound of chains breaking. That is the sound of miracles being dispatched. Because when you speak this psalm, you are not alone. You are joining the echo of millions who have cried out through the ages, "The Lord is my shepherd." And God has never, not once, failed to respond. He rushes to the sound of faith. He answers those who call on His name. He shows up for the ones who dare to believe that His word is more real than their circumstance. So now stand tall. Let the tears fall if they must. But do not hang your head. Lift your eyes to the hills from whence your help comes. You are not defeated, you are being delivered. You are not abandoned, you are being anointed. You are not invisible, you are being elevated. Speak the psalm. Speak it in the morning when the worry tries to wrap around your heart. Speak it at noon when the day grows long and the bills stare back at you. Speak it at night when the silence tries to convince you that nothing is happening. Because in the spirit realm everything is happening. Angels are being dispatched. Doors are being carved in walls that look permanent. Resources are being stirred in the hearts of people you've never met. All because you dared to open your mouth and speak what God has already spoken. The Lord is your shepherd. You shall not want. Say it again. Say it louder. Let it drown out the noise of fear. Let it silence the voices of doubt. Let it become the soundtrack of your soul until every part of you moves in rhythm with it. Let it become your daily anthem, your sacred song, your spiritual armor. For when you wear these words like a cloak, when you wrap yourself in this truth, lack loses its grip on you. You are no longer subject to the economy. You are tied to eternity. You are no longer bound by scarcity. You are seated in abundance. Child, do you know who you are? You are royalty. You are chosen. You are the head and not the tail, above and not beneath. You are heir to a kingdom that does not go bankrupt. And your Father, your shepherd, delights in your prosperity. He takes joy in your blessing. He is not stingy. He is not slow. He is not distant. He is near. He is faithful. He is generous beyond comprehension. And all He asks is that you trust Him, that you speak His word, that you believe what He already declared. So do it now, with every ounce of faith you have left, with every drop of hope still burning in you. Speak the psalm. Watch God. Just watch Him open the doors. Watch Him provide in ways you never imagined. Watch Him restore the years the locusts have eaten. Watch Him make a way in the wilderness, rivers in the desert, joy in the morning. Watch Him turn your not enough into more than enough. Watch Him use your very lack as the platform for His glory. Watch Him bless you so thoroughly that even your enemies will say, "Surely the Lord is with them." And when the doors open, and they will, do not forget this moment. Do not forget the valley. Do not forget the psalm that carried you through. Return to it. Rehearse it. Teach it to your children. Let it be the foundation of your legacy. Let it be the anchor of your success, for it is not your skills that sustain you. It is your shepherd. It is not your brilliance that blesses you. It is your belief. And the same God who brought you into abundance will keep you in it, so long as you remember the source. Let the world chase after riches if they must. You, child of God, chase after His presence. Speak His word, declare His psalm. And the doors, oh yes, the doors will open. And if you dare to speak it now, don't just let it roll off your tongue as if it were any ordinary phrase. No, let it rise from the deepest well of your spirit, like a roar from the earth that knows it's been kissed by heaven. Speak it with the remembrance of every tear you've cried, every sleepless night you've endured, every door that's been slammed in your face. Speak it as a response to rejection, not revenge. Speak it as the sound of faith louder than the silence of delay. Because, child, this psalm, this living word, it is not passive and it is not weak. It is the sword you draw in a world that tries to convince you that lack is your portion and poverty is your fate. But you have never been meant to live under that lie. That was never your truth, never your identity. You are not what your overdraft says. You are not what your job title says. You are not the sum of unpaid bills and broken promises. You are a chosen vessel of divine provision. You are the one God is raising up not just to survive this storm but to be a lighthouse for others in the same sea. Speak the psalm and take your eyes off the problem and fix them on the provider. Every time you say, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," you are calling your mind back to sanity, your spirit back to stability, and your future back into alignment. You are reminding every power and principality, every generational curse, every old trauma that the narrative has changed and God is the author now. He's rewriting the ending, and this time you don't go out empty-handed. This time you come out carrying more than you had before the storm started. This time you will know what it is to walk through the fire and not be burned, to go through the flood and not drown, to stare at a red sea of impossibility and see it part just because you obeyed and stood still and believed. And when that cup runs over, because it will, don't let fear talk you into scarcity again. Don't let the world convince you that the blessing is temporary, that abundance is for others, that favor is for the famous, and that you, child, are just lucky. You are not lucky. You are loved. You are not the exception. You are the evidence. God is using you to show what He can do with a willing vessel. You are not just being provided for, you are becoming a provider. You are not just walking through open doors. You are walking with keys for others who are still locked behind theirs. Because this is the truth of the psalm, the deep mystery of divine provision. It isn't just about you. It starts with you, but it doesn't end with you. When God fills your cup, it's so that it spills onto others. That overflow, that's your ministry. That business He breathes life into, that's a shelter for others. That idea He blesses, that's going to feed families. That opportunity He places in your lap, that's going to open doors for generations. You see, when you speak the psalm, you're not just calling for your miracle. You're setting the stage for miracles to multiply through you. There is a fire being lit in you right now, not just to believe, but to become a beacon, to become an answer to someone else's prayer, to become the one who doesn't just ask for bread but bakes enough for the village. That's the kind of abundance God is preparing, not the kind that ends with comfort, but the kind that begins with calling, and that calling is activated when your words line up with His word. That is the power of this psalm. It transforms your posture from a beggar to a builder, from a seeker to a steward, from one in need to one in position. So speak it again, even now, with all you've got left. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Say it until your thoughts obey it. Say it until your fears flee from it. Say it until your atmosphere shifts and your situation bends and your enemies scatter. Because there is something supernatural about aligning your tongue with truth. You cannot speak this psalm consistently and stay small. You cannot speak it and keep living beneath your promise. You cannot speak it and remain bound. Because truth sets free. And this truth, this divine, poetic, eternal truth, was written for your liberation. God is a provider. Always has been, always will be. Even in the garden, when Adam had no job title, He had provision. Even in the wilderness, when the Israelites had no paycheck, they had manna. Even in the famine, the widow had oil that did not run dry. Even at the wedding in Cana, when they had nothing but water, Jesus turned it into wine. And even now, in your life, in this moment, in this hour, He has not changed. Your shepherd has not retired. Your shepherd has not abandoned the field. Your shepherd is still guiding, still giving, still preparing green pastures where there should only be dust. That's who He is. And He is not in a hurry, because He is not late. He arrives on time, Not your time but His time, the divine time, the time that cannot be measured by clocks or calendars but only by the heartbeat of heaven. And when He moves, child, when He moves, everything shifts. He doesn't just open one door. He opens many. He doesn't just meet one need. He fulfills all. He doesn't just bless a moment. He anoints a movement. And you, yes, you are the movement. So don't be ashamed to speak the psalm again and again and again. Whisper it when your strength is gone. Sing it when your courage is faint. Shout it when the victory is near. It is your weapon, it is your shield. It is your declaration, and it is your inheritance. Let no man, no preacher, no professor, no pessimist talk you out of it. Let no delay make you doubt it. Let no loss make you lose it. Because once the psalm is planted in your spirit, it will grow. Slowly at first, then suddenly, like a tree breaking through concrete. And one day you'll look around and realize you are no longer in want. Not because you got everything you ever wanted, but because you received everything He intended. Peace, provision, purpose, and yes, prosperity. You see, prosperity is not a dirty word when God defines it. It's not greed, it's grace. It's not about storing up treasure in barns. It's about being a well that never runs dry. God's idea of prosperity is you being whole, being able to say, even if the storms come, I know who holds my future. It's walking into rooms where you once felt small, and realizing you are seated at the table, not because of who you impressed, but because of who you belong to. It's knowing that financial freedom doesn't come from what you earn, it comes from what He grants. And He grants it freely, abundantly, and joyfully to those who trust in Him. So if today you are weary, speak the psalm. If today you are hopeful, speak the psalm. If today you are on the edge of breakthrough and don't know which way to turn, speak the psalm. Because the same shepherd that walked David through the valley is walking with you. The same shepherd that anointed kings is anointing you. And when you look back years from now, when your storehouse is full and your heart is even fuller, when the children in your life know lack only as a memory you taught them never to entertain, when your testimony becomes a lighthouse to someone else still stumbling through darkness, remember this psalm. Remember the power of those ancient words. Remember that what unlocked the blessing wasn't your strength or your hustle or your plan. It was your faith. It was your voice. It was your willingness to speak what God had already written. The Lord is your shepherd. You shall not want. This is your anthem. This is your declaration. This is your truth. And when you walk in it, not crawl, not stumble, but walk with head held high, the doors will open. Not one, not two, many. Doors you didn't know existed. Rooms you never imagined. Tables you didn't think you'd ever sit at. Not because you're perfect, but because you believed. Because you spoke. Because you trusted the one who leads with goodness and mercy trailing close behind. So now, go forward, with confidence, with power, with joy that doesn't make sense, and peace that defies understanding. Go forward with this psalm etched into your spirit like a flame that cannot be put out. And every time doubt dares to approach, every time fear tries to whisper, every time the world tries to shout louder than your faith, speak it again. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Say it, believe it, live it, and watch God open the financial doors forever and always. And oh sweet soul, if you're still here, if your heart is still beating to the rhythm of these words, then I know this message was carved for you like stone, shaped for your moment, made for your deliverance, because you don't just need encouragement. No, you need a release. You need something deeper than motivation. You need a spiritual unlocking. And that's what this psalm is. It is not just verses. It is not just literature. It is a divine code, heaven's combination to the vault that holds your next chapter. And I need you to understand something eternal. When you speak this psalm, you're not speaking to God, you're speaking with God. You are aligning your voice with the echo of His heart. You are stepping into a language that was first breathed before time began, before money had meaning, before debt had dominion, before the weight of this world threatened your worth. This is your inheritance, your right, your legacy. Because the Lord didn't become your shepherd when you learned to pray. He was your shepherd when He formed you in the secret place. He knew you before you ever opened your mouth. He chose you before you earned a dime. And so when you declare I shall not want, it's not just a hopeful phrase, it's a return to divine memory, a return to identity, a return to the garden, to a place of trust, to a place where lack didn't live, and provision was the atmosphere you breathed. Child, I know you've walked through dry places. I know you've counted coins while others counted blessings. I know you've wondered why your harvest always feels delayed. But this I know too. There is a spiritual law, a holy principle, a kingdom truth that no economic system can override. You are never forgotten when you're a follower of the shepherd. Even when you feel left behind. Even when the weight bruises your hope. Even when the dreams are dusty and the cupboards are thin. If you belong to him, then provision belongs to you. And hear me now, because this part matters. Provision doesn't always look like a flood at first. Sometimes it comes as